If you're in violation of an FAA regulation, is the FAA just going to do whatever they want in court to make sure that you're guilty? No. I actually get this comment quite a bit, and I feel like I have to continue to clear this one up. If you ever are in violation of a regulation since 2015, the FAA will start out with you with what's called the compliance philosophy. And what they'll do is they'll give you a compliance brochure. In the compliance philosophy basically says as long as whatever you did was not intentional, egregious, criminal, reckless, it didn't show a trend of this happening in the past before, or it doesn't show competency on your airman certificate, if you are willing and able to work with the FAA, they will do what is called a compliance action, and it does not touch your airman certificate at all. So it's not an enforcement on your airman certificate. What that usually looks like is a formal counseling where they sit down and talk to you about the issue and make sure you understand it. Or sometimes they might recommend or require you to get remedial training. And they'll say, go out with an instructor and then report back to us. We need to see that you've logged the time. The ultimate goal of the compliance philosophy is to get you back into compliance without having to do anything on your airman certificate. Now, in the case that it actually is an enforcement and it goes towards a certificate action, so meaning that whatever you did was intentional or it was egregious or criminal or reckless, or you showed a trend of this happening over and over again and you're just not being compliant or getting yourself back to being compliant, or it showed a lack of competency on your airman certificate, they have to do what's called an enforcement investigative report. So it's not like the inspector in your local field office is just going to court and saying, I think they did this, or I feel like they did this. There's an order that the FAA has called the 2150.3, and it outlines everything that has to go in that big long report that takes an inspector days to write up. And in there, they have to have items of proof or evidence, and all of that stuff has to prove whatever happened was intentional or egregious or criminal or reckless or showed a trend of it happening in the past, and they have to have evidence to prove that. But it doesn't stop there. They don't just go to court with it right there, because that report has to get reviewed by the office manager, who a lot of times will send it back to the inspector for corrections, and then it gets sent to a headquarters division who looks it over, and they do the same thing. They're making sure that whatever happened is justified and there is evidence for it. After they review it, and if they'd had